Hey guys, I'm Dimension Jumper and today I'll be doing my top 5 favourite DLCs from video games. Now, DLC, or downloadable content, is basically extra stuff for a video game, whether that's new characters, new story, new whatever. And within the last few years, a lot of games have had DLC added to the games, and today's video I'm just going to be talking about some of the video games that have DLC that I find interesting or just to have fun in, when it comes to what goes on within the games or how they might expand the game as a whole. So for number 5 is the Isle of Armor from Pokemon Sword and Shield. Now with the Isle of Armor, I think I would enjoy this. I think I do quite enjoy this DLC a bit mainly because you get to interact with new characters, and I feel like it's something along with the Crown Tundra. It was something that the main game of Sword and Shield missed, because I do enjoy some of the elements from Sword and Shield. Like, I do enjoy the Gigantamaxing. I like the whole open world type area with the wild area, and I do like catching some of the new Pokemon in the game. But with the Isle of Armor, I do enjoy that you get to experience this sort of treasure hunt in a sense, sort of thing, because within the Isle of Armor, you basically go to this sort of dojo, like this Pokemon dojo area, and you have to go into sort of competition to try and find various stuff. Like, one of them is trying to find these particular mushrooms that can help Gigantamax one member of your Pokemon from your party, and I think that's really cool and interesting. And I also do enjoy some of the battles, like especially against the head of the dojo. I think his name is Mustard, I think, or something, like Master Mustard or something. I do enjoy the battle with him. I also like some of the new Pokemon that was added into this game, like the legendary Pokemon, as well as Galarian Slowpoke, which is basically just normal Slowpoke, but with like paint on its nose, like around here, and then you've got Galarian Slowbro as well. That's quite cool. It's just Slowbro but with like the shell on his arm, kind of like Mega Man. That's quite cool. And also you've got returning Pokemon from previous generations in this game, or in this particular DLC, like Luxray, Lopunny, I think, and there's several other Pokemon that weren't in the original main game of Sword and Shield. So yeah, the Isle of Armor is a nice expansion of Sword and Shield, along with the Crown Tundra, and I think they're both really cool and interesting DLCs. For number 4 is the Super Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Wave. So they've been starting quite recently, and one of the reasons why I enjoy this DLC for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is because we get to experience some old tracks from the previous from the previous Mario Kart 8 games, or well, from the previous Mario Kart games, not just from Mario Kart 8. And I think some of them are really nice, like Coconut Mall. I feel like I think it keeps an homage to the original Coconut Mall, and I think all of them keep a really nice homage to the original tracks. It's just they have been updated for the Mario Kart 8 / Deluxe treatment, in terms that some of the elements of the tracks have been added with like anti-gravity or the gliding sections or whatever, and I feel like that's really cool. I was just seeing these old tracks being sort of remastered in a sense, but not too much to the point where they're unrecognizable. I think they're done really well to keep in the Mario Kart feel, but having that tweak in them to make them feel fresh with the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe gameplay and stuff like that. And yeah, so far I've enjoyed all of the tracks from the previous. I think from the first few waves. The only weak one I would say so far in terms of recording is probably Wave 3. I feel like, to me personally, Wave 3 is probably the weakest out of the tracks we've seen so far. But I still really enjoy all of the new tracks, and yeah, I think this is a really cool and fun DLC just to have experience with all these old tracks and just seeing them how they would interact with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. For number 3 is the character path from Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Now, Smash Bros. As a series is a nice way of bringing together a lot of really well-known icons, whether that being Nintendo ones or third-party ones, like characters like who might be from third-party games like Sonic, Metal Gear, Final Fantasy, and the various other ones. And I would say the Smash Bros. Ultimate characters paths are really interesting because you see a lot of really cool characters, because you've got like Pyra and Mythra from Xenoblade, you've got Banjo-Kazooie from the Banjo-Kazooie series, you've got Joker from Persona 5 as well as Royal, you've got Sephiroth from Final Fantasy 7, a character or a game that when Cloud was announced, it didn't really have a lot of Final Fantasy stuff in it. When Cloud was introduced, you only had like 1 or 2 songs, 1 stage, and just 2 alternate skins. And when Sephiroth came over, he had like various skins, as well as an additional stage, as well as a whole bunch of Final Fantasy 7 music. And that's it's so cool just to see, just seeing these things come together, and it's so really cool. And I do enjoy a lot of the characters in this pass. Like, I enjoy Joker, I enjoy Sephiroth, I also enjoy Pyra and Mythra. I think those are really cool and interesting characters to play as, just so you can just switch between either Mythra or Pyra to Mythra. I think that's really cool, and with those characters, it's really cool to see them have their own different unique moves, instead of just being, it's just the same moves, but it's named a different way or something like that. It's really cool. So yeah, I really do enjoy the Smash Bros. Ultimate Character Pass. For number 2 is the Shadow of Rose for Final Fantasy 7. No, for Resident Evil Village. So with Resident Evil Village, I really enjoyed the whole story. I think it's one of the only, if not probably the only horror-based game to actually give me a frighten or make me scared, because it's all in first person. And you don't know what's going to go on, and it makes you feel like you are even within yourself, in a sense, because that is really cool and just really ingenious of how the first person camera is used. Now with Shadows of Rose, instead of just being in first person, it's done throughout the whole DLC as in third person, so we get to see more of our surroundings. That's cool. It's, I think, kind of takes some of the tension away from it being in first person, but I still got some horrors and some shocks from the DLC. Like, there's a bit when we have to go back into the dollhouse, and you get to see all these mannequins, and that gave me a really big shock, because you do see one sort of teleport a bit or move around, but you don't really get to see it move until it does, and that gave me a big scare. It gave me a big scare because it was just so unexpected, because I didn't really expect them to move. And they kind of move like the Weeping Angels from Doctor Who, in the sense that they can only move when you're not looking, and when they do, when you do have your eyes on them, they don't move, which is an ingenious way of playing the game of that particular part of the game. And I do enjoy the story as a whole, because it's basically just Rose wanting to get rid of her powers, and that in turn leads her to find this crystal thing to try and to get rid of her powers. And that's a really cool way of thinking, okay, how do we get her back into the main village area without trying to go back into the main village area, because you do go back to some of the elements from Resident Evil Village, but it's all through this mutant mice seat thing, which is basically just a Mega Mice seat, but smaller in a sort of sense. That's how I've come to see it as, and I do enjoy this part of the game. I think it's a nice continuation from, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, Resident Evil Village, and I think this is a nice continuation of those 2 games, but also as a nice sort of wrap up of those 2 games as a whole, of this ending the story of the Mold, Rose, Mother Miranda, and also Ethan Winters. I think that this is a nice wrap up to the game, and it's it is really fun, and I do enjoy how this sort of as soon as it ends, and it kind of ends on the final cutscene of the main game of Resident Evil Village. I think that's really cool, and it's just a nice, interesting DLC to play in. And for number 1 is the Champions Ballad from Breath of the Wild. Now, what I enjoy about the Champions Ballad is that it's a nice sort of, like with the Shadows of Rose and from Resident Evil Village, and how that to me feels like it's a nice wrap up to both Biohazard and Village. I feel like the Champions Ballad is a nice sort of wrap up to the main Breath of the Wild game as a whole, mainly because we get to experience some of the things that the champions experienced when they had to become champions. And yeah, even though the cutscenes and some of the shrines are a bit of a letdown, and it could have been a bit more, maybe a bit of polishing here and there, I still enjoy the Champions Ballad just because we get to like experience all these different challenges, and we set these different tasks, like defeat a particular monster in this particular area of Hyrule, or go through all these checkpoints in a specific amount of time, or move an orb from one location to another without getting detected by this particular group of monsters, or bandit of monsters, or something like that. And that's really interesting, and I do like the cutscenes that we get after fighting, or reliving the fight of the Blights, when we have to go back and fight them. Again, I think that's really cool, just seeing the champions before the whole calamity happened, happened, and how they interacted with Princess Zelda, because we did cutscenes with the champions interacting with Link, and we got to see, two sides of them, with the champions how they interacted with Link and how they interacted with Zelda, with Rivali pretty much being the same because it's Rivali and he's a bit of a dick. And yeah, I do enjoy the champions in the new cutscenes, and I also like how when it comes to refighting the Blights again, I do enjoy how you only acquired these specific items you need to fight the bosses, and that's really enjoyable because you're only limited to I think 1 or 2 single-handed weapons or double-handed weapons, depending on which boss you fight, as well as maybe a bow or maybe 2 bows or something like that. And that's really interesting, and if you're just having to fight the Blights with these particular weapons, as well as different armors that you will wear that are themed after the tribes of the champions, whether it's Goron, Zora, Rito, or Gerudo. I think that's really cool, just having us seeing these items, as well as armors we have to wear, and that's really cool. And also, I do like how with the monk you get to fight at the end, he's like a lot harder and more tougher final boss than Calamity Ganon is, because Calamity Ganon is an okay boss, but I feel like because of the champions and how they help drain Ganon of half his health, it feels a lot easier, and what might be an hour and a half boss fight, if you don't have if you didn't defeat any of the Divine Beasts, is reduced to like 15 to 20 minutes, maybe half an hour or so. And that's just not, even though it's fun, I still prefer the monk fight over Calamity Ganon, because he takes a lot longer to defeat, as well as he has a lot more interesting moves than just Calamity Ganon just using the moves from the different Blights. I feel like I'm actually fighting a boss instead of just, a particular boss that uses the same moves as bosses I've already fought before. And it's like, it's okay. But the monk you get to fight, it's really fun, and I do like how at the end of the fight you're given the Master Cycle 0, and I do like how that particular once you do get it, you're like hundreds of hours into the game, and you might have already collected almost everything, and you might need it for like a few more Korok seeds and maybe 1 or 2 more materials like a star fragment, just so you can upgrade your final bit of armor that you might need to fully upgrade to like rank 4 in defense and stuff like that. So yeah, overall the Champions Ballad, it's a fun time, and I do enjoy a lot of the things that this DLC has to offer. So that's been my top 5 favourite DLCs from video games. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.